All right, let's switch gears here. I want to teach for a few minutes some areas I think is important for me. I think doing this, the grind of church planting, the grind of doing ministry in general, but adding the elements of 3 places where we set up and tear down and managing all that we're managing. Sometimes the workload, sometimes I can forget the why. You know, sometimes the workload, it can be so heavy and so much that how do I stay inspired? Right, got that? How do I stay inspired? And so I want to just teach for a few minutes on how to stay inspired. I encourage you, take notes, write some of this stuff down. In every arena and area of your life, you need to figure out how to stay inspired, okay? At your job, maybe when you don't feel like it, you got to stay inspired somehow. Make another sale for your family, right? Whatever it is. In church, absolutely. We love Jesus. I don't doubt anybody doesn't love Jesus in this place. But even when you love Jesus a lot, you can still be tired, burnt out, upset, frustrated, mad in your heart, all the things, and then we forget that we're on mission with and for Jesus. You understand? So in every area of our life, got to stay inspired in our marriages, got to stay inspired in our parenting, got to stay inspired in all the stuff. And I tell you what, when I watch the news, I get uninspired sometimes. Right? Or when I watch sports sometimes, very uninspired. So even when we have great days, you know, it feels like sometimes on Sundays we can have a great day, but then you hear other things that happen, and it's just like, oh, we had a great day, but then it's just like, man, how do I stay inspired? How do I shut out some of the noise? Because the enemy is always just gnawing at your ear. You understand that? You know, it's like this is a picture I get of the enemy, okay? I'm a huge sports fan, obviously. I love basketball as well. Never had a chance to be excellent on the basketball courts for ways that you can just use your imagination. But, I love watching people hit a shot and just talk. I just love that, you know, whatever. But I think the picture of the enemy is you know, the enemy, man, he makes a shot, you fall down, and he stands over you and just gets in your ear and just chomping away, talking all kinds of trash. That is the enemy all the time. And what happens is you could be winning, but he's not interested in that. He wants to discourage you. You understand that? And the thing is please hear me. Just because you lose a battle does not mean you lost the war. We already won. The war is won. Right, but there are battles that we fight, and we've got to keep our eyes on the fact that victory is ours. So how do we stay inspired, okay? Here's 10 ways to stay inspired. Here's the first one, stories. You always have to go back to stories. This is the 10 S's, by the way, okay? Love some alliteration. Stories of life change. What are the stories of life? When you are sensing that, I'm a little bit empty, go back to the stories. One of our coordinators, Maria, sent me a story of her father. And last week via email. Hope to God I emailed you back. Did I? Okay, God bless. Man, just the story of her dad coming, and it doesn't go here, live here, had a non-really relationship with God or stagnant or whatever it was most of his life. Man, gave his life to God in one of our services, got baptized. Okay, and just a whole slew of things that came after that, from taking somebody in their family in, and just unbelievable. Her dad now speaking life and leading her family, and he's got an issue he's facing. I think about that story. When I'm feeling uninspired, I'm remembering, man, God's up to something, and I'm a part of it. Right? I mean, I probably dunked them, in the tank. Like, I'm part of this, and it's like when you see somebody on your team, just an element of a life change, you're a part of that. When you see anybody giving their life to Christ, you set up a banner so that somebody could give their life to Jesus, right? I mean, so it's like no part is too small. No ministry is built, and it shouldn't be built on the personality or the charisma of one. It is on the sacrifice of many. And so the point that I'm making is when you are feeling uninspired, you've got to look for, listen, find, and retell your stuff stories of life change. Okay, the second one is this. We've got to surrender. Surrender. We have to remember, and I did it tonight during our worship time, we have to remember that this is actually not my weight to carry. It is, but it isn't. It's my responsibility, but it's not my burden. Right? And so, you know what Jesus tells us? My yoke is easy, my burden is light. Come to me, all who are weary, and I will give you rest. And like at the end of the day, when you are feeling overwhelmed, frustrated, you're sending out those schedules, or you're having to correct somebody or have a challenging conversation or whatever it is, and you don't like it, you're feeling that tension, I've got to resurrender this back to God. Yes. God, this is yours. There are so many times where I have to remind myself, I am actually not the senior pastor of the Block Church. He is. This was his idea. And a lot of times I insert myself as the senior pastor, and that's when it's too much. Jesus is the leader of your life. He's the leader of your ministry. You have responsibility over it, but at the end of the day, it's his. And when you want, and this is a struggle of mine, when you want it to succeed more than Jesus does, then it's become an idol. Yes. And so there's been plenty of times where this church or ministry, and it's so easy, it becomes an idol, where I want it to succeed or I want it to happen more than God does, then that becomes a problem. So I've got to, in those moments, and also in the moments of struggle when, when there's 180 less people in church than Vision Sunday, like last week, I just got to surrender that to God, okay? All right, you understand what I'm saying? Surrender, okay? That's how I stay inspired. Number 3, silence. Some of you are really bad at this because you're afraid of what the voices and the noise says in your silence. You've not dealt with your issues, so the second that you go into a silent space, your issues are yelling at you and freaking you out. So then you've got to get people in your life, and you've got to get noise, and you got to text, and you got to Instagram, and you got to do all the things. And at some point, those things are contributing to the anxiety, to the fear, to the depression. Not saying there's not chemical things. I'm just saying sometimes we add to it. Yes. I am the king of this. I do not love flying on airplanes, particularly takeoff. And so they got me an Apple Watch for my birthday. But the problem on the Apple Watch is I can check my heart rate. And so I'm like, Lord, look at my heart rate. Look at my heart rate. I don't like, we're going up. Oh my God. I'm like checking my phone. And she's like, give me your phone, your watch right now. Like, and it's like sometimes what we have to do is just turn everything off. Like we have a responsibility to answer people within 24 hours. You should. You have a responsibility, if something's urgent, and you can tell that, don't be a jerk, okay? Don't use your Enneagram as an excuse, okay? Like be responsible. Okay, but like you do have permission to say, you know what? I can't answer that right now. I'm not in a good headspace. I'm turning my computer off, turning my phone off. I'm not sure how to turn the Apple Watch off actually yet, but yeah, and it won't run out of battery either. So it's not stopping. Anyway, but silence, time with God. Just shut it off. I'm telling you, I've been leaving my phone upstairs at night. And it's helping me be more focused on my family, all the things. And time with God. I've been getting up at 5:30 almost every day, spending time with the Lord. If you don't do that, there's no way you can stay inspired. It's his breath in our lungs. It's the infilling of the Holy Spirit each day that keeps us silence. Silence is good. Deal with your stuff. And if you are getting silent and it's getting loud, you got to keep going into that place of silence to defeat it and speak your praises and cast out the enemy louder than the lies, than the chirping trash talk the enemy is saying in your ears. All right. Number 4, be silly. To stay inspired, you got to laugh. Laughter is like medicine to the heart. And you've got to have some downtime, some laugh time. You can do that at church with your people. You can do that. You can do that at church with your people. You can go out with your friends, with the gals, whatever it is that creates some laugh space for you. You got to get into a safe space and just be silly. It's really important to just let your hair down and just have fun. I remember for me, when I was having a bad day, I would put The Office on. And it was like it was like healing to my soul. I was like, nobody's got it as bad as Michael Scott, like I'm going to make it, like what do you got to do to just be silly? It's important. Laugh, 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 laugh. Be silly. It keeps us in tune with the S's. Number 5, show yourself the progress. So you got to define and clarify the wins. Now, this is a little bit different than life change, although it's similar, but there are ways to measure your metrics. And so we can take ministry for an example. Man, my team, I added 7 greeters over the past 2 weeks. I'm feeling a little bit uninspired. Well, guess what? I'm just thinking about, man, I just added a certain amount of people to my team. That's good. We can do this. God's with me, right? Or define. Go and define what those wins are and look back and say, you know what? We're making progress. This person who never smiled is smiling now, right? And you can do this in every area of your life. Lauren and I have been working on our marriage, and we'll get into that on Boot Up on February 10th. We are trying to, instead of complain, we're trying to say, okay, hey, look, this is progress. What is the progress that's taken place? Define. It would be good for you to define and clarify some wins, set some goals, right? And then as you see some of those accomplished, celebrate them. And when you're feeling uninspired, go back and see what the Lord has done. I was sitting around our table today, and I have felt a little bit of lack of inspiration, just trying to hear from God, just to be honest about some of the things we're doing, some steps we're taking. I'm a lot of my headspace getting taken with the venue stuff, Center City stuff. And I was looking around today. We went to lunch for all our birthdays, and I was looking around at our staff, and I'm sitting here going, man, there's 8 of us here today. 8 people that I really like, and 8 people that give their life to this thing, that we're able to afford to be able to have them focus most or all of their attention. I remember when it was just me barely, and I was spending half my time just trying to raise my salary, and I was just being reminded in that moment, hey, God's got this. Look what he's done. He can do more. He's God. You understand what I'm saying? All right. Number 6. Sometimes you have to shift the norm. Sometimes you got to shift the norm. In other words, make changes and stop doing what's easy. The reason that you haven't maybe made any progress, or the reason that you are uninspired, is because you keep doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results. So change it up. Do something different. If you're married, go spend the night at a hotel. Or if you're at work, right? I don't know what it is for you. If you're whatever it is at work, if you've been trying a certain strategy and it's just not working, maybe your boss needs to see you bring something to the table differently, right? Or even in ministry, maybe you've tried a certain way and the way your team building isn't working. Go have a conversation with somebody who can build team well and try something, or move somebody around, or because especially when you're uninspired and something's not working, what's it going to hurt? It's time to risk. It's time to take some steps. Don't be afraid to lose. You already feel like you're losing. You might as well throw the ball downfield and hope somebody catches it. Because what don't you have at this point anyway, And so I'm not telling you to be stupid and walk in and swing the door open and demand a raise in Jesus' name. I'm not saying don't be stupid, but change it up. Change it up, right? You got to shift the norm. Shift the norm. And some of us, we've been reading this book about, it's called Canoeing Through the Mountains. It's really powerful, about Lewis and Clark, the story of Lewis and Clark, and how they thought they were just going to row their boat all the way to the Pacific, and they realized they had to face the Rocky Mountains. And so the whole book is about, you can't canoe through the mountains. You got to change things up. And it's the idea of adapting or die. And he says this in the book. This is so powerful. He says, most people will just die because it's too hard for them to adapt. So let's just be comfortable and satisfied with dying. But somebody already died for me. I don't want to die. I will live and not die. I will be triumphant in Jesus' name. I am a victor. And so all of these things, with that in mind, I will adapt. I got to shift the norm. All right? All right. Number 7, sneak away. Sometimes you just need a week off. Sometimes you just need a retreat. Sometimes you just need a day off. Sometimes you just need to get out of the same place you're in, a change of pace and a change of place equals a change of perspective. You've heard that before. I didn't come up with that, right? But right, I mean, sometimes you just need to go to your leader and say, hey, feeling a little bit uninspired right now. I'd like to I just think I need a week off to clear my head, to sit in church, right? Nothing wrong with that. We'll work with you on that, right? I don't know what kind of time you get at work. Some of you refuse to take any of your time off for whatever reason, but maybe you just need a mental health day, okay? All right, retreat. That's why we go away. That's why we retreat. That's why you vacation. But you don't have to. I think sometimes we think we have to do elaborate things. Listen to me. We have to do elaborate things, but sometimes the elaborate things that end up putting you into more debt or more stress are actually more hurtful than they are helpful. Sometimes you just need to go sit at a park and stare and watch crazy people, right? Now, sometimes, so you just got to see. Sometimes you just, let's be honest, parents, sometimes you just need to be away from the kids for, and if you can't afford it, let me know. If you need an hour, I'll pay for your babysitter. I ain't watching them, but you know what I'm saying? Like, right? Sneak away, all right? Number 8, score easy. Score easy. Before you get your head in the gutter, all right? Because I know some of you were thinking. No, I'm just kidding, not you. The people who are going to watch, all right? What I mean by this is, in staying inspired, is sometimes you got to just do something that gives you a little bit of a win. Just an emotional win, physical. So like a small example, I write my sermons on Tuesdays. Sometimes I'm sitting there stirring going, man, I got nothing. And obviously I need to pray, and I have prayed. But sometimes what I'll do is just there's a couple emails that I can just bang out real quick. And I do it, and all of a sudden, I'm in the zone. All of a sudden, or on your task list, Asana or Basecamp or whatever you use, man, I just knocked this out. That check mark came up. Woo, you just feel like glory, and sometimes you just got to accomplish an easy task, or make a phone call, or go talk to somebody, or write a note, just accomplish something, or man, go sweep your floor. All of a sudden, or make your beds. Make your bed. Next thing you know, you're the CEO. It's like there's something powerful about just getting some things in order. And so what I would say is sometimes you just got to score easy. Something simple, something easy. Make a call, lock a date in, whatever it is that you got to do. Ask somebody out. Maybe that's a thing for you, right? I mean, even if they say no, you put the guts up. Guys, I'm talking to you. You put the guts up. You did it. I don't know what it is. Put some makeup on. I don't know. I don't want to speak to that. I don't want to get accused and casted out and sued by Peter or somebody. Okay, here we go. All right. You with me so far? Yes. 2 more. You getting something out of this? Yes. Number 9, sometimes you need a strategy session. That's 2 S's right there. Strategy session. You just need a think tank. Where is my life going? Why is my business not starting? Why am I struggling? Why can't I get my website done? Why is nobody joining my team? Why this, why that? Sometimes you just got to get a couple people that you trust and you love, but who won't just tell you yes to everything, right? And who are not yes men. And just go say, hey, can we spend a couple hours? I'll buy you coffee. Would you just think with me about my life? Would you just budget with me? Will you just help me figure out what my website should look like? Would you just help me figure out how to find some new clients? I mean, I don't know what it is for you, right? Help me grow my team. Can I borrow some, whatever it is, sometimes you just need a think tank. Something powerful happens. Listen to me. Something powerful happens when you list everything out. All of your to-dos, all of your strategies, all your game plan. Man, okay, it's on paper. And then you just begin to take it one by one. So I'm encouraging, have a think tank in your life. Sometimes you just need a strategy session. Here's the last one. Submit your struggle to your leaders. Every leader needs a leader. And if you are not, submitted to a leader, you are going to struggle to have people fired up under your ministry. And of course, I recognize that most people in this room, or if everybody really happily, honors their leadership and has spiritual maturity. But what I'm saying is sometimes we have to submit our struggle to our leader. Be honest. Man, I don't know if I can do this any longer. And don't just quit. Like just say, let's have an honest conversation. They might have a solution, that just you didn't even think about. And I call my pastor regularly, hey, there's just so many things. Hey man, I don't know what I'm going to do here. Please help me. Oh, well, why didn't you, what about this? And why didn't I think of that? And sometimes it's just the spiritual application. It's you taking a faith step of humility that God then produces the harvest that you need. And sometimes God's withholding answers from you and relief from you because of your pride. Because of your willingness to just be honest and submit your struggle. So when you are struggling, there's certain things you just got to work out. Certain things you just got to not be drama. There's certain things that you can, call another coordinator up or get advice or collaborate. But when you know it's a struggle and it's repetitive and you're really overwhelmed and you feel like you're at the edge and, man, I'm going to quit. When you're at that place, you've got to submit your struggle to your leader. Give your leaders an opportunity to collaborate with you and God. All right, let me quickly review. I'll just read them. How to stay inspired, 10 S's. Number 1, tell stories of life change. Number 2, surrender to God. This is his, not mine. Number 3, practice silence. Number 4, be silly and laugh. Number 5, show yourself the progress. Number 6, shift the norm. Number 7, sneak away. Number 8, score easy. Number 9, get a strategy session. And number 10, submit your struggle to your leaders. All right. I hope that was helpful to you.